Welcome to Leetcode's Blind Curated 75, where I'll be solving the top 75 Leetcode questions. This question is called Spiral Matrix. Here's the question. You're given a matrix of m times n elements. We want to return all elements, but in a spiral order. What they mean by spiral is you're going to first move right, then down, then left, then up, but move in a spiral fashion so that you don't repeat any of the numbers. And we're going to return an output with all of the numbers in that order. How will we go about doing this? So this is an intimidating problem, but once you get the gist of the approach, it's not too bad. What we want to do is essentially store four numbers, and we want to store the starting column, the ending column, the starting row, and the ending row. And we'll run through a while loop while the starting row is less than the ending row and the starting column is less than the ending column. We're going to do four movements. We'll go right, we'll go down, we'll go left, and we'll go up. Each time we do this, say that we move right, we're going to increase our starting row so that we know that we'll never come here again. Like we've gotten all numbers at this point, and when we go down, we'll start here and we'll move down, and then we'll decrease our ending column. That way we'll never come to this column again. Then we'll go left, and when we go left, now we'll decrease our ending row by 1, so that way we know we'll never count any of these numbers again, and so on and so forth. So let's start coding this out. First thing, they do have this weird edge case where it might give you an empty matrix. So if they do that, if not matrix, just return an empty list. Now, like I said, we want to store four things, right? We want the starting row, we want the ending row, we want the starting column, and we want the ending column. So starting row is 0, ending row is just going to be the length of the matrix. Starting column is 0, and the ending column is going to be the length of matrix index 0. All right. So while start row is less than the end row, or is probably better, start column is less than the end column, we're going to run of these four things. Okay, so we'll go right, we'll go down, we'll go left, and we'll go right up. And each time we do this, we are going to change our starting row and ending row to make sure that we don't recount any of the values. So we'll initialize an empty list as our output. So we'll start with just going right. And how do we do that? Well, for I in range of what? Starting column, right, to the end column, what are we going to do? We want to append all of our values at this row into the output. So this is just going to be an append, and we're going to say matrix. At the starting row, we'll just input I, and each time we're going to enter all these columns, right? And we can actually simplify this a little bit. We could do a list comprehension, and what we'll do then is just take this here, we'll put it here, and what we'll do is, this is going to be a list, we'll just extend whatever we calculate as our list here. So that's going to be our right. Now what about when we move down? Well, we don't want to recount this row on the top, or this cell on the top row in the rightmost column, right? So we should, first thing to do is increase our starting row. Say, okay, start row, increase it. Because that way, when we do this, now we're going to go for I in range of the starting row to the ending row. And we'll say this is going to be I. We want this to be what? The end column, right? Because that's going to be the end column here, and actually needs to be end column -1 because of how indexes work. Now, great. Now we've taken care of this column, right? So let's decrease this column by doing a minus equal 1. So that's going to take care of our down. So what about left? Well, it's just kind of the same thing, except now we're going to be moving backwards. So to do left, we're going to start from the end column, go to the start column, and we're going to go in decreasing order. And to make sure that we're going to get that last column there, we'll have a -1 here. And this actually, do I need a -1 here? Yeah, I think so. I think I need a -1 there as well. Well, we'll recheck that as we move forward. And we got to change this. This is going to be, now this is going to be what? The end row, -1, and this is going to be I, right? Because we're moving left, end row. Oh, no, that's not right. End row is going to be here, and we're going to be checking I. And what do we want to change here? Now we've taken care of this last row, right? So decrease our end row. Okay, finally we want to move up. And this is going to be starting at the end row, -1, to the start row, -1. And again, -1. Just change this here. This is now going to be I, and we're going to always do the start column here. Right, and start column, we've taken care of this, so increase that. So that should have everything in there now. So I'm going to just print the output and see if this works. And it looks like it works for this, but there's an edge case. And here's the problem. Let's say that this was a 4x3 matrix. This wouldn't work. And the reason for that is it moves left, it goes down, it goes, I'm sorry, right, down, left, up, and then it checks to see, okay, while start row is less than end row or start column is less than end column, oh, okay, we still need to move right, takes care of that. But the problem is, even though it doesn't move down, it's going to end up moving left again, because here there's nothing to really check because the end column is still at a point where it's greater than the start column. We're going to be recounting that row. And same thing's going to happen if it was like a 3x4, where we're going to be counting up and then down again. Okay, so how can we take care of that? Well, the way that I just decided to do it was to put an if statement here and just make sure that this start row is less than the end row. And this, I would say this isn't the best way to do it, but it seems to work. This one would be actually start column and the end column. And this way, we'll make sure not to recount anything that we've already taken care of. So this would be row, row, like that. Now let's try it. Check it out, see if that works. And that seems to work. So let's just get rid of this print and see if we can submit this. And there we go, accepted. Yeah, so hopefully that makes sense. The tricky parts here really are, well, first that edge case where we don't want to go backwards or like backwards left or right or up and down. So one way you can actually do that is make this an and then have an extra if statement at the end to take care of those. There's other ways to do this that might be more efficient, but to me this felt like the most intuitive. Really the trick here is to keep track of these start row, end rows, and start columns and end columns, and have this for loops inside of our while loop. And that is basically the method. Hopefully that makes sense. Yeah, I don't really have anything more to say to that. So thanks for watching my channel, and remember, do not trust me because I know nothing.